Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's OpenONU Go call. Thanks for joining. As usual, the call is public and recorded and will be shared live on YouTube. So please be mindful of the comments you make and the information you share. First of all, there is a little bit of an update on the insertion of unknown MEs. We merged parts of the work, which is the unknown ME part, which is here in 31007. That's done. And I opened another Jira to inject the OMCI unknown attributes, which is 4654. And Theo will be a little bit more free from other duties this week. So we will be he will be working on that in the upcoming time. And we'll just implement that. Holger, do you have any questions on this?
No, actually, the only thing that has to be considered is that the flags has to be switched. Currently, we have this Helm chart flag inject on the unknown attributes, which is actually used to switch to unknown ME. So that has to be switched.
Yes.
But okay, yes. I think Theo has this on his radar.
Okay, good. Good. Okay. This one, I think we did merge dispatch, so I think this one could be closed.
Yeah, that what was missing was a change in the Helm charts you made today, that we also use this new images for Jenkins test, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's good. This panic into the while decoding the VTOCD-ME, Girish, this was the one from the Zircom in Berlin, right?
Yeah, yeah, that was the case.
And did we fix the panic?
No, we didn't fix the panic. It's not that simple. I think there were some proposals from Michael about how to address this issue.
Actually, we need. I see Chip is in the call. Probably Chip can elaborate a little bit more what checks he could imagine we could include into the ONU adapter code. Do we have any ideas, Chip?
Yeah, it depends on how you want to do it. So one of the first ones is as you do the decode, we can always do lazy decode. So in lazy decode, we always want to probably do the no copy, because that's an optimization. Since so there's a couple options we call the packet decode step. So one is, of course, no copy, keep that there. If you want to, you can do lazy decode. And what lazy decode will do is not invoke a layer processor until you actually ask for it. So that's one possibility, is where you could decode it just as you need it. The other one is
you mean sometimes of two-stage approach. First make a lazy decode, and when it seems to be okay, then make a real decode, or
yeah, there actually could be and what you could do is do a lazy decode. Also, after you do a decode of a layer, you can, or after the new packet, the main one is to check to see if there's a decode error layer. That's a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if you did a lazy decode just to vector it to the proper set of code, I haven't actually looked at how the OpenONU adapter handles the packet processing, if it can do it at a multi-layer step so that you can decode it and say, oh, it's a mib upload next response, and then you call the mib upload next response decoder. Then he could, then you could do request that packet layer to be decoded, and that might allow you to do the log errors or log messages in closer to where the code that's affected is done. Does that make sense? So you can either do it way up front in one common place, or you can make it more specific and more targeted.
Okay, to do the decoding more specific, it was already a specific type.
Yeah, and remember, always check for nil. And if you get nil, you might want to, of course, output a log message. But when you output a log message, also see if you can decode the error layer. And that's actually specifically, I think it's called decode. I'd have to look at the actual layer name, but it's like decode error layer. And that's where we pass on more detailed information that might make a log message more helpful.
Okay. It would be helpful if you could paste some keywords into Slack which layer and how do you?
Yeah, I can probably I'll cut and paste some from some of the unit tests that I do for for the unknown attributes and all, because it sort of does some of that. So I'll sort of put some pseudocode out there with actual layer, various suggestions.
Okay, that would be helpful. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's great,
Can
Chip.
you
Thanks.
can you summarize once more what was the real problem in the OMC lib at that point? Because I'm still not sure if that specific managed entity class is not supported, or if it is just the content with some.
I think it was an ONU issue, because it wasn't a create response coming back or something, and it was a create response that was supposed to be for the VLAN table, but the ME that got encoded was hex 44 instead of hex 45 or something like that. So it was something in the ONU. Well, unless we, of course, requested, some you might want to take a look to see if for some reason it might have been requesting hex 44, or maybe that was decimal 44. It's one of the others. Yeah. So
I guess it's a problem of the ONU reporting the wrong class. But what is then the real issue in the OMC lib with that?
Oh, what it was doing is it did a lookup, and it was trying to do a decode. And so when of course it decodes the OMCI layer to get the message type, and then the next layer is of course the message type and ME specific. And then the ME that got encoded was some VDSL one, which there's support for, and there was enough support for to know that a create or something was not allowed. That was invalid message request for that type.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And it's sort of strange, because actually looking at the response message, it says, hey, it's the VDSL configuration ME, and the error code was message type not supported. So that's why I'm wondering if for somehow we were requesting the wrong ME be created.
Mm-hmm.
So either we requested it wrong, or it received it, made a mistake somewhere in its code, and then handled the mistake correctly.
Okay.
Yeah, very, very, very strange one, but it's not the strangest one I've ever seen.
Yeah, but in order to check that, Girish, it might be necessary to have a complete trace of the test. I think we don't have that complete trace. So might be necessary to have
Yeah.
it and to check really if for some reason either the ONU adapter really has requested that message, or maybe there was somewhere on the way some byte swapping leading to the effect.
Yeah.
No, I checked the log. We requested for creation of EVTOCD-ME, but when you responded with some VDSL.
Yeah.
And you also checked
Mhm.
the transmission ID for that. So it's the same transmission ID.
Yeah, it's the same TID.
Yeah.
Right, the same TID. There's no issue with that.
Okay.
Yeah, I was wondering as debug or something that might help further on is in a lot of the responses that we receive, you have to look up the TID to know how to match it and respond back. So there's probably a reference to the TID, but if we still had that request packet, actually output that packet and the packet that failed in the log, so we can see what we sent and we can see what the response is at maybe debug level.
Girish, I believe you do have all of this logs still, right?
Yeah, it's still available.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So
So
yes.
maybe you can add them to a Jira that we can put up for this.
Yeah, let me create a Jira and attach this log.
Yeah, maybe
Thanks.
there's just some breadcrumbs that will help us in a future debug session.
What Chip mentions is a bit more than we usually do. So his suggestion is, in such an error condition, if we detect such decoding issue on one way or the other that was discussed before between Holger and Chip, then we could also try to not only to put out the error, but also to indicate the previous request message, at least type and so on, class ID that we used for this transmission ID.
Yeah,
so what
that
happens?
might save us some get that PCAP and send it to me, where we have to, since we're split between time zones. That might.
So this issue is 100% reproducible on one ONU that at the moment we turned off for the tests. But if we need the PCAP, I think it could be gathered fairly easily with that ONU out of the servers. So if I would say start with this Jira, attach the logs, and you guys can take a look at the logs. If that is not enough, we can then go in and get the PCAP from that ONU, because we didn't plug it from the pod. It's just not going to be used in the tests.
Okay. Do we ever feed any of this back to the ONU vendors? I mean, we're
so I have not yet.
okay.
Because so what happened was that this ONU is one ONU out of I believe, if I'm not mistaken, 10 or even maybe 12 that we have from this model, and same software stack, exact one. So what they're going to tell me is that this ONU is bogus, just throw it away. But if we find out that it's something, not just because the ONU just has his brain completely lost, I could reach out to Circom via DT.
Okay.
But let's first do some investigation internally.
Yeah, what puzzles me is this ONU was working fine. I mean, all of a sudden, I don't know how it could just misbehave like this. It has the same software version.
And this is also, I also want to go and check it out. I'm gonna go to this ONU, this particular ONU is in Berlin, so I will at some in the close future I will go to Berlin. I have to move the pod around for things that in Deutsche Telekom. So I might check if there is something. Might do some testing on this particular ONU if the need arises.
And also it misbehaves in a predictable way. I mean, so that is also quite interesting. It's not like it has completely lost its brain.
Yeah. Well, at least it's making our adapter better.
Mhm.
Or more
Indeed.
resilient.
Indeed.
Are there any lessons to be learned for the test? Should we include such messy functions into BBSim or not?
Oh, that is, I would say that's a little bit too much for now.
I think the ONUs will always be smarter than BBSim in creating errors.
Yeah,
Agreed.
but you will keep this special ONU is a software state we have now, so we can test then if we have then the correction. Then. Okay.
Yeah. We don't plan to update any of the ONUs at this point in time from that vendor with the new software image. We are talking to Turk Telecom to get a software image that supports also their workflow, but even then, it's going to be down the line. Okay. Good. So there was another minor element that I see Abhilash on the call that I didn't put here. Yeah, it's not here, which is the FTTB patches for OpenONU Go. And I know that one got merged, but there were some comments from Michael. So Abhilash, are you going to address those comments in the next patch? Do you have any questions for Michael?
Hi all. Yes, I had a few questions to Michael. So can I grab the ball and I shall share the review so it will be easier.
I was about to do that.
Okay.
So yeah, so you have it without having to exchange the person sharing the screen. There we go.
Okay, I can ping you the link.
No, I just had it. I just added it to the. There we go. Can you see it?
Yes. So Michael here from my comments, like, okay, you've opened this one, right? Okay, got it. So Michael here, the next flow which comes for that uni, right, for that FSM, it obviously will be different. So what issue you see here?
There are 2 points. One point is let's say just a formal one concerning the decoding itself. So if you go to the VLAN config FSM and you go to your changes for the call to set UNI flow params. If you go to the code in some diff view.
Set uni, okay.
Which line? Sorry.
I don't remember the line, but there are not so many changes. Should be. I think it was one of the last changes in the VLAN config FSM.
One second, let me grab the line.
But a little bit deeper, a little bit more. Set UNI flow params here. So what you have done here is to insert the new parameter match PCP, and within this function you do not nothing with that. And this function evaluates the set of flow parameters against what might already possibly be configured. And if you just add the new parameter here and you do not take it over to the local rules, then existing rules won't match to, or your new rule that you configure here won't match to some rule that is created by the create VLAN FSM, where this parameter is already correctly evaluated now. So you just added the new parameter to this function, but you do not nothing with the match PCP within this function.
Okay, you're saying on 406, right? On line number 406, I'll have to add it there as well.
Yeah, I didn't share. I would assume yes. And
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, I got it. I thought I did.
Yes, and
yes.
as a consequence, because you do not enter this parameter in the, let's say, local rule copy, then afterwards there will be some check against some existing rules, and these check won't match, and so this function will have the assumption that this is a new rule, even though the configured rule might already be the same as you want to configure here. And there are then multiple configurations done basically with the same intention and with the same reaction on OMSI.
Okay, yep, I got it. Okay. Yeah, I'll make that changes, Michael. Thanks.
But I didn't know whether you this was just a preparation for something and you still wanted to extend the code here in another patch pert or in another Garrett review. I don't know. So that's why I just wrote it down as a general remark.
Okay. Eventually, I would have caught it out in the subscriber flows, but yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'll fix it in the subscriber flows in the other review I have.
Yeah, and the other question is that you have taken over this match PCP parameter to the configuration now, but I think you are sure that it is still not used in the real configuration. Yeah, so that is probably something that you want to do later.
Okay.
So what I meant is you have something added now to the configuration, but I'm pretty sure that it has no effect on the real OMSI configuration that is done within the VLAN FSM.
No, but the extended does have a match, right, on the PCP. It should match.
It is, yeah, there is something in there, but it would be necessary to have a closer look if the added parameter that you inserted has really some effect on the rules, on the extended VLAN tagging operation rules that are configured within the VLAN state machine. Because normally they don't know something like match PCP. They just use the previous existing elements like set VLAN and set PCP and match VLAN. But I think no match PCP. Okay. So I guess it has no effect on the OMSI behavior itself.
Okay, I haven't tested this on a DPU yet. Probably once we have a DPU up and running, probably I can go ahead and test it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. Okay. Thanks, Michael. That's on that. And the other one for the subscriber flows. And if you could open here. Yeah, this one, Michael, what I've done is I've just went ahead and configured how the flow is. Like, I agree on your point, like we could have just configured don't care on both inner and outer tags on the extended. But I just went ahead and did how the flow is. And also the inner CVLAN, it would be needed to identify if the packet incoming is double tagged. So I have made that additional parameter there from the metadata.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that in any way is something that I understand. This is still something that is intended for the GPU FTDB subscriber flow configuration. But I still cannot find some coincidence or some correlation between the requirements for this configuration for the subscriber flows and the changes that you have introduced. Because if I haven't looked at it at this change for a long time, but my impression was that you inserted let's say opportunities to match on a double tagged flow, which might be okay or not. I'm not sure about that, but I think the customer, or let's say the ANP VLAN that is used on the DPU as an identification for the subscriber flow is on the outer VLAN. And I think the rules that you try to find here match on the inner VLAN. And the inner VLAN is then something that we don't know in the FTDB scenario, is something that we don't care. So maybe that's what I don't understand in this at this point.
Okay, the inner VLAN, yeah, the inner VLAN I can make it as ignore as of now. I can put a condition like if it's ignore. Obviously, the flow will come as ignore, at least for the DT workflow. So I can make it as ignore. No issues with that.
Yeah,
I just Very good.
If I remember correctly, the match VLAN was inserted as, I'm not sure, maybe it's don't care, but I understood it's the real ANCP VLAN that is configured here for a match on the inner VLAN. So maybe that is
inner. Yeah, inner will anyway be don't care, so it shouldn't matter. But we are only matching on the outer tag.
Mm-hmm. Okay, then if that is the intention, at least, then yeah, you might be on the correct direction. I'm not sure if it is really required to define double tag rules for that, because we do not really focus on the inner VLAN, so it would be sufficient to focus on the outer VLAN. And the question behind is, if I still correctly remember the scenario in the FTDB setup, it was also required at least some year, a year or 2 years ago, that also single tag frames are to be admitted. So in my point of view, it shouldn't matter if the frame comes in double tagged or single tagged, as long as it has the correct outer ANCP VLAN. We should find this flow and correctly forward it. But I'm not sure if this request is still valid. So in your case, if you state the inner VLAN is don't care and you have a match on the outer VLAN with the correct tag, if that is your assumption, then you would only filter really double tagged frames.
Yes, that's what the intention was, to filter only double tag.
Mm-hmm. So perhaps Andreas can recheck with Deutsche Telekom if they still have the requirement to also transfer single tag frames with the ANCP VLAN.
As far as I remember, there is no single tag. But either way, I'll cross check once and I'll update.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it would be good, Avish, for you to check with Amit and possibly Bjorn as well. As I recall, this requirement was dropped, and there's no such thing. and the traffic will always be double tagged. But let's make sure of this. So Abdesh, please double check with Amit and Bjorn, and come back to us on that.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Okay, sounds good. On the memory leak tests, I know that Hardik is putting something together for this. Hardik, can you share a little bit more?
Yes, so for this, I started looking into this, and the plan is to reuse the script, which I think Girish added sometime back for my monitoring. So the plan is to use the same script with the memory leak test that Toston has submitted, and create a pipeline to test that. So I've started on that. Probably by early next week, I should be able to finish it. Just having some issues there. Just working on that.
Okay, thanks.
That's all. Yeah.
Okay. Ozge, do you have any update on this one? Because it seems that the comments from Mahir are still there. I guess this dropped in urgency. What's the...
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't work on dispatch because I need to work with Mahir because of these comments, because this patch will complicated, and he was not available last week. Because of that, I didn't work on this patch. We have different and detailed test case. Because of that, we will work together.
Okay, sounds good. Then we'll wait for your update on this.
Okay.
Thanks. And any update on the voice over IP? I know I've been putting in contact Netsia in general with Zyxel. So
Zyxel team said we will send Zyxel device within 2 weeks.
okay, it's good. So you can start testing there.
Yeah.
Okay.
They will help us for voice over IP. But I don't know which model device.
I remember the model name, but I forgot. It's the newest with FXS. It's a fairly powerful device that has a lot of support. But yeah, that's good. Whenever you get it, send some information to us, and
sure,
we can just then.
Okay, I will add.
Okay, sounds good. Holger, on the 611, I know you were waiting for an updated software. Did that get out to you?
Actually, it is back and forth here between ONU development and my tests. And what I figured out last week was that when we are in this error scenario, then the gem adaptation layer Ethernet profile is not configured at the ONU. So actually, this might be the root cause of the issue, but I got a new load, but this new load correction attempt does not fix this issue. So I'm still in contact with the development of these third-party development there in China, and I will wait for another connection. But actually, it seems that we have found the root cause at least. Now we need to fix.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Okay. Let's wait for that then, and we can then discuss what we can do. Okay. On the testing front, I asked Hardik to join also so we can discuss the software update in 2.8 and what we want to do there. But Torsten, I'll let you take the lead on this.
Yes, I backported the software upgrade test from master, respectively from 2.9 to the 2.8. And it's well prepared, but there are two issues came up. Both are located in BBSIM. One is error which is described in Volta 4302, where the BBSIM listed the new image too soon. This is not backported to 2.8, and the other point was the HTML request to get the number of image requests at the BBSIM. It's also not backported. I don't have the number of the no Volta number. Yes, via HTML.
Okay, I know Theo suggested you to try with the latest BBSIM, but there were some issues.
Yes, right. I tried and it doesn't work. I don't investigate why, because it's not the correct way from my point. And I prepared the patches now so that they will run successfully without the BBSIM extensions. Okay. But I leave the code in, but comment it out only. So if Theo decided to backport the one or both points, then we can very quickly activate it in 2.8. If he decide to keep it out, then we can let it run as it is now.
Okay, so the patches are present and we can merge them as they are right now without any issues. And then we can have I'm going to have a discussion with Theo on backporting these two things to 2.8.
That's right. And I discussed already before with Michael about this point, and he said that it would be enough to run the test without the BBSIM extensions. It's good when it's run in 2.8. because we checked the other functionality in 2.9 and in master. So
yeah. So what I will do
there
is
no urgent backporting.
Okay. So what I will do is at the end of this meeting, I will merge those patches and I will make sure that we will go forward with those tests. And then I'm going to have the discussion with Theo and see what that leads us to.
Yeah, right. Fine. And because the new point you put here, we can remove the point above. I think it's the same. The above was
both
original.
Of them.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. Okay.
But you can remove it. It's fine.
Okay.
Great thing.
Anything else on this one on the testing front?
Only one question to Hardik in software upgrade. There are still some issues with Volta components and the ONU apps. Do you working on these points?
Hardik, I mean, I know we were looking into them. There are a few issues we know about them. Just we didn't have the time to spend actually debugging those. Yeah, that's my comment, unless Hardik has anything else to say.
Okay, that's okay for me if you are working on it, and then I know it.
Okay. Okay, anything, so that was all I had on the agenda for today, but I'm gonna open up the floor and ask if anybody has anything else they want to share with the group. Okay, then if not, I think we can close the meeting a little earlier, and we can save us a couple of minutes of our day, and we can talk again next week. If there is any update during the week, as usual, you can go ahead and use the channel or the email. Thanks everybody for joining. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.